Hello guys, good morning. My little candle, I got this off a friend. Thank you, it was lovely and it smells really nice and it makes me look all weird. Look, ooh, they're coming together, so like that. Anyway, coffee, cheers guys. So, I was watching a video I did yesterday and I realised something. And I thought, right, so I'm going to have to do another video now. Because mistakes, getting it wrong, right, making mistakes, I don't actually like doing that, actually. When other people do it, you know, like on TV or something, they do this, I always want to punch their lights out. It makes me feel really annoyed. And here I am doing it, and it's like, but anyway, God, you know, we're all so... We're such a glorious mess, us soul travellers, you know, we're a glorious, beautiful, radiant and dark, messed up mess, all of us are, right? And anyone pretending they're not, in my humble opinion, are just full of shit. And I don't want to be that person. So yesterday when I was talking about disentanglement, you know, toward the end of the video, I think I was talking about disentanglement and what it is and how important it is, and I really truly believe in it because it's been revealed to me very, very much that yes, this is the ultimate way, and it may not be for everybody either, you know, I can't say, but it is for me, and so I talk about it obviously because these videos really are about my own journey. It helps me clarify for myself, and I also hope that, you know, somehow it helps other people. And I think it is, to an extent, so that's really good. So anyway, so there I am talking about, jabbering on about disentanglement, you know, from the, you know, the state of PTSD-esque, trauma-based entanglement that we are in, playing the game, reacting and feeding exactly that which oppresses us, and you know, basically that it's also very difficult to put this into words because it has so many different nuances, and as I'm trying to verbalize it, to conceptualize it, all those nuances go through my head like in a computer, shitloads of information, and then it's like you know. But anyway, so a few comments that I got that were quite sort of unpleasant, from people that clearly haven't done any work, etc, etc, but you know, it's entirely up to them. I'm not going to react to them anymore. I'm just going to block them, but I'm not going to talk about it anymore, because that is exactly what I was talking about. That is the trauma-based reactionary state that feeds the darkness. And that is what it wants. It wants that. It wants our attention. It wants our reaction. And that reaction inevitably always comes from within, from a state of fear, or a state of self-doubt, or a state of woundedness from our shadow. Because our true self is so above and beyond that. Our true self understands and sees with great, big, blazing eyes of light. It's not offended, it's not afraid, it doesn't doubt. It knows. It says you are intrinsically valuable and you are powerful. But you've lived a life, and you've lived in a realm where you were taught the exact opposite, and when you were very, very abused. So that's created this fake persona. This is who I am, this is who I am, but you're not. And that is the reactivity. Because the fake persona is made, its building blocks as it were, the blood in its veins is self-hate, ergo therefore self-doubt. I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. And I'm never going to be good enough, no matter what I do. And so when somebody says something derogatory or negative to us about anything, YouTube is full of it, people. It's a very reactionary place. The world is a very reactionary place. Or when somebody, like in the farm shop, you know, they owe me for a couple of courgettes and some fish, I think, maybe, or maybe not, but anyway. And I can get really upset about that, but I managed not to do that there so much. So, but yesterday, yeah, I talked about disentanglement, but I was actually entangling myself by reacting to, you know, these comments, and thereby eliciting yet even more of it, because that is what happens. A typical example in the greater field, in the field, is the war on drugs. You know how they have the war on drugs, and they have these like, again, sexy language. The Tsar, the drug Tsar. That always makes me think of this Russian singer with this big fucking massive fuck-off hat, like a furry, massive furry donut on his head, you know, Ivan something or other. The drug Tsar, you know, and he's there snorting shitloads of cocaine and smoking meth. I don't know. I mean, the war on drugs. See, this is a reactionary thing. We're against drugs. Oh yeah, we're gonna fucking ooh. And next thing you know, you have a massive opiate epidemic, right? Or people, you know, it's like, I had a friend years ago, and this was the woman that used to fall asleep, dribble every time I mentioned 9/11, and she was one of these people where somebody offended her. I think it was her brother, and he sent her a text, and the next thing you know, they're like texting furiously, back and forth, hurling insults at each other, not getting anywhere at all. That is what I'm talking about. Now, that is trauma-based entanglement. It just keeps that show on the road, and it feeds into the darkness, which then comes back. It's like goes around and it gets fed, and it comes around and it gets fed and it comes around. That's it. And through that process, we kind of re-traumatize ourselves in a way. So, you know, it keeps that whole show on the road. The only way to be in this world now, for those of us who can do this, who are ready for this, is this entanglement. And that is really a trial and error and fly by the seat of your pants type of situation. This is not going to happen overnight, people. We have been reactionary, and we have been in the trauma-based, PTSD-based entanglement position, reactionary, trapped in the darkness, feeding it, being batteries, our whole life. That is the truth, right? So we can't unlearn that overnight. So we're going to have to be really patient with ourselves, and I'm going to have to be really patient with myself. But if you want to get a good example at how not to behave, then watch my last video, Empaths in Lockdown, because there's a great example of me talking about, you know, disentanglement, but actually doing the exact opposite. So there we go. See, this is why I do these videos, because had I not done that video, okay, I've learned a very valuable lesson, and I think it's brilliant, and so I'll share it with you, you know, because hey, why not, right? Let make it count for something. It's interesting because, you know, we're here now as well in a state where, oh, I can't go shopping, you know, or I can't do this, or there are things that we will not be able to do, and hey, who knows, in the future, I'm not saying this will happen at all, but imagine if the internet did go down, how you would feel. And this is, in a sense, all about disentanglement as well, because we are so reliant energetically upon being entertained with, increasingly, I understand, dramas made by people that do horrific things to children. So what exactly are we entertained by, and what's that doing to our psyche and our energy? We've got to ask that question, because we might get to a point where we're going to have to actually voluntarily say, you know what, I'm not doing that anymore, because we're feeding something there, aren't we, people? We are feeding something. I'm not very clear on that yet, so that is something that I'll be thinking about, and that will clarify itself to me, and I will be shown the way, because my true self always shows me the way. it's a case of really thinking about what does this entanglement, what does it mean, right? Because, and why is it important? Why is it important? Well, for me, I don't want to feed the dark sides, and I know that through my trauma-based or trauma-inspired reactionary entanglement, I am feeding the monster and keeping it alive. And we are in pivotal times here where we need to stop giving it sustenance. All of us soul travelers, we need to stop feeding it. We need to weaken it. Because we are not here to feed it. We are not batteries. We are powerful, radiant, valuable creator beings, people. So we need to stop doing what we've done our whole life, and we need to start doing that which feels like anathema almost. To stand in the light of our power and in the power of our light is the most difficult thing, because we're not used to it, and there is a voice in our head that tells us that it will not yield anything, that is completely mad. That, you know, there was somebody who did a video on YouTube, a guy that I know and like, but he says something like, well, if we were gonna, you know, ascend to the fifth dimension, we would have done so by now, ergo, let's just all be terrified and angry and full of hate and full of rage and think about all the terrible things that they're doing, that they're going to do, i.e. predictive programming. And I thought to myself, that is exactly what we should not be doing, because what point does that serve now? Other than, again, see, that's a form of entanglement as well. You are predictive programming yourself. You really are then. This is going to happen, that's going to happen. Oh, those and those and those people are behind it, and they're doing this and this and this and this, and so they're going to do this and they're going to do that, and oh, the female coffins and this and that. If that's the kind of reality you want to live in, then feed it. By all means, do. I have no intention of living in that kind of reality, and I will stand in my light now. Even if my shadow, and even if the dark generator are there going, well, you can't stay in your shadow because, I mean, you can't stay in your light, ha ha ha, Freudian slip here, you see. You can't stay in your light because bad things will happen, you will be punished for being defiant. You see, that is what is behind that, and that's, I think, why we're so afraid of stepping into our light, because we're actually afraid it's going to attack us. Because we've been programmed to think that being small and on our knees and in the dark, terrified, is what's going to keep us safe. So to expose ourselves and step into the power of our light is like, oh, bullseye. Now they're going to really come for you. But they won't, you see. You'll see they won't. So much goodness has happened to me just by me being aware of this choice of, hey, I can be in the light and practicing. It's been a really tough one. And there's still many, many times where I'm really in the dark, where I feel utterly overwhelmed with fear and a sense of doom, despair and whatnot. But now more and more I'm able to come back to the light, and this is what it's all about. And I feel that self-love, and I feel that sense of potency, and I feel that sense of power, and I know that this is going somewhere, and I do get so much synchronicity. And this brings me, I got a really good message from a friend, and I wanted to mention that to you guys as well, right? Because I think it's important. He said to me, he said, what would you say if I told you everything we see, hear and do is a sign? We just didn't have the eyes to see before. Now, that resonated with me in a massive way, because I already knew that, but I doubted it. You know how we second guess ourselves all the time, and we doubt ourselves continually. Again, that's the dark side, you know. You're powerless, you're worthless, you don't know anything. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. We are given signs all the time in everything that we do. Even in the TV series that were made by these evil bastards. we are still getting the signs. It still speaks to us. I mean, I was watching Star Trek. I'm on Star Trek Voyager now, having gone through the whole Next Generation. I'm now in Star Trek Voyager, and it's the end of series 1, and it's like boom, boom, boom. The synchronicities are like wow, 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 you know, landing in me and growing, and just it's amazing, and I'm literally like speechless with it. All right. So I know damn well that something good and fruitful and meaningful is happening in the field, within and without, you know, and all that. It's very good. So try and see it that way. Try and look at it that way. Try and hold that idea that everything that happens for a reason, to show you the path, to show you the way back to your true self, to wholeness, to completion, that show us how to create reset. It's all there, people. We put it there ourselves before we even came here, quite possibly. Right. In that scenario, everything is meaningful. It's a language. It speaks to us and it shows us the way. It shows us the way through symbols, through the numbers. It shows us the way through interactions between people, through smells, through sounds, through the topic in an episode of Star Trek. You know, it's all there, and it's amazing. It was amazing because in one of the episodes, B'Elanna Torres is captured by these people called the Vidians, who are very, very sick. Their whole race is very diseased and very sick. And they do something, because she's half Klingon, half human. And they separate her. So there's one of B'Elanna Torres who's completely human, and the other part of her which is completely Klingon, because I want to extract that Klingon DNA, which is resistant to the phage, which is the disease that they suffer from. So we have two B'Elanna Torreses, and they're like that because the human B'Elanna doesn't like the Klingon B'Elanna, because the Klingon B'Elanna is a reactionary, warrior-like woman, you know, and the other one is human. It's like all about, well, let's, you know, and who, and this is shadow work. It's shadow work, and at the end of the episodes, they're recombined into B'Elanna Torres again, and she realizes that, hey, I cannot live without my Klingon side, the side that I find so difficult to deal with, that I am afraid of, that I hate. The side that I feel is always sabotaging me and tripping me up and making me feel like shit. I actually cannot live without. And I thought it was amazing, you know. And this brings me to, well, something else, because yes, I was talking about empaths in lockdown, and I gave you a little bit of advice, but this might not work for everyone at all. What came to me in the night was this: breathe, people, breathe. Many years ago, I came across a really nice lady. She was a masseuse and she did a great massage. And she told me, she said, you know that people don't breathe properly. Everybody's breathing is very, very shallow. And this is true. We don't actually breathe properly at all because we're so traumatized and stressed out. Our breathing is very shallow. Like, the only way to breathe is like this. In through the nose. We breathe deeply in through all the way through to our gut, here in our stomach. Right? We receive the breath. We really receive it. Let your body really, really receive that air, that breath, that oxygen. Imagine it going into your cells, into everywhere that it's needed. And then exhale through your mouth. It's called conscious breathing, or I'd call it as that, conscious breathing, to be aware of the breath, which is the stuff of life. Alright? That really helps for well, for all of us, but if you're in a very stressful situation, lockdown, people that you really can't stand, like your family or whatever situation you're in, this is very stressful. And as empaths, we get stressed out very easily anyway, because we're very sensitive and we can feel everything that's happening, really. So breathing is very important. And you know, you might want to start by there's something I learned from a Tai Chi master, and it is to stand up, literally stand up, just, you know, just and then as you breathe in through your nose, you lift your arms, you go and then you drop it, and you drop your body like a limp doll, poof, on the out breath. And then you just do that, you just let it all go. You imagine you're letting it go, you're letting it go, you're letting it go, right? On the out breath. It's very helpful. So when you find yourself feeling very anxious, very stressed, then do these breathing exercises. They're very, very good. And also remember, guys, your trauma releasing exercises. David Berceli, B-E-R-C-E-L-L-I. Yes, David Berceli. Trauma releasing exercises, TRE. Excellent work, excellent stuff. And then for one last thing, shadow work, people. Shadow work is, well, is disentanglement ultimately, of course. So I might just call it disentanglement actually, rather than shadow work. But you're there in lockdown with people you want to kill, or you're there in lockdown like all of us, and we don't really know what's going on, and it's stressing us out, and we don't know this. Oh, you know, you're on YouTube and you're trying to get a handle on it, and this is stressing you out and that's stressing you out. We're like absorbing all this one way or another. Even when you shield yourself very well, you still absorb some of it. It's very unsettling. The reason that it's unsettling is because we still have shadow. Our true self is not unsettled. Our true self knows that all shall be well. Imagine a great, big, amazing being with these big fuck off wings going, yes, I know, all is well. All is well. Well, it's a bit more than that actually, but anyway, that was not very good. Yeah, anyway, it's very early. Our true self is very sanguine, and it's pure power, so there's no need to, it doesn't fret. But our woundedness, our inner child, as it were, is you know. So this is a perfect time for shadow work. A lot is being triggered here. We're being triggered and triggered and triggered and triggered and triggered and triggered. I've got to go to the supermarket this morning, try and get a bit of food, and well, hey. I'll probably do a video about that tomorrow and tell you all about it, but yeah. So this is the time to get a shitload of work done, a shitload of inner work, a shitload of disentanglement, right? To really practice and practice and practice. And if we do get it wrong, don't worry, people. Forgive yourself. It's important. It's just the way it is. We get it wrong. We will get it wrong a lot, but we will also get it right, and we'll get it right more and more and more incrementally, and that's what matters. And if you're getting triggered, breathe and feel and ask yourself, why is this triggering me? Like I had to ask myself, why are these negative comments triggering me? What does that mean? What's going on within me? Why do I feel this way? Why do I want to react? What is that about? Shadow work, people. All right? Use it. We may as well. It's all happening. It's all going down, whatever is going down. And it's triggering us in a massive way, in every imaginable way, in every nuance and every level. So, hey, let's do the work, people. Right? We can do so much with it all. We don't have to sit here and feel like victims. We can sit here and feel triumphant because we are taking our power back, and we are doing the work, and we are learning from our mistakes. So that's what we can do with this. That is where we can take our power back. And it will yield things. I know it will. So, yeah. So I think I'll call it a day there for today, and all my love to all of you. And yeah, let me know how you're all getting on and what's happening right your neck of the woods in the comment section. I'd appreciate that. I want to know what's going on over in America or Australia or Asia or Sweden or Denmark or Norway or I don't know, the moon. All right.